Speaking of networking, let me plug myself a little bit. If you want to learn more about fashion design process and what the industry is like for designers, please pick up my book, Fashion School in a Book, Design and Illustration for the Beginner and for the Brand, and or my accompanying workbook, Fashion School in a Book, Design Journal. And if you have one or both of these books, please rate and review them at whatever website you bought them from. It would help me a lot. Thank you. Hey, party people. Today we're going to be talking about networking. And let's just dive in, okay? The very first thing that I want to talk about with networking is a two-way street. You have to give to receive, okay? And I don't care if you think that this person is so far ahead of you in their career that you don't need to give them anything. That's not really for you to decide, okay? Any relationship, whether it's romantic, professional, platonic, it should always be a two-way street, okay? Networking is no different. Maybe what you give and receive is different, okay? Like maybe they present you with a job opportunity and what you do is you send them a little thank you note, you buy them some flowers, you spot the coffee the next time you two get together. You tip them on some industry news that you found really interesting because you took Zoe's advice and keep abreast of industry news. Something, okay, where, you are showing them that you appreciate their efforts and that you're thinking about them and also their career. Ultimately, networking is about relationships. So go out there and meet people, okay? Go make friends, not frenemies. I'm really tired of this narrative that fashion is comprised of all these catty people and, oh, I'm surprised you have so many fashion friends, or I have to go make friends outside the industry for real, like down to earth people. I'm over all of that, okay? I have friends in different industries because I just have friends in different industries, but I have fashion friends. I have met so many incredible, genuine people in fashion who just like to make stuff, okay? Are there terrible catty people in fashion? Of course there are. There are terrible catty people everywhere. It's not just a fashion thing. The worst person I ever met in my professional career was this woman who worked in accounting. She was a real piece of work. Are we going to put that on the fashion industry? Are we going to put that on accountants? No, that's stupid. She singularly was a terrible person. Approach people with the mindset that you want to build a mutually beneficial, reciprocal, kind, well-meaning relationship with them, even if you guys don't become besties. One way to do that is to be interested. People love people who show genuine interest in whatever they're working on, whatever they're into, whatever they're wearing. Okay, learn to be an active listener. So I'm going to give you a few tips on how to engage with people. Okay, number one, don't lie. Don't lie. Okay, when you see someone who is like a semi-public figure, don't approach them and be like, oh my God, I'm so obsessed with you. I love you and I love all your work and you're amazing and we need to be best friends because I'm so obsessed with you. If it's not true. If it's true, that could be a good time. But if it's not true, don't bother because at some point you will slip up, you will give away your game, and it'll be real embarrassing for the liar. How do I know? Because I've been the receiving end of these lies where people try to kiss my butt and then they slip up and say something stupid. I'm like, I know you don't watch my channel. I know all of that was just a lie. And it's real embarrassing for them. So this is a personal thing, but I am not good at approaching people. If someone approaches me, I'm very good at engaging and chatting. I could talk kind of like off a cat. I talk too much. That's just the thing. But the initial approach is something I have a problem with. So what I do is I wear something remarkable, as in literally something to remark upon. People love to remark on my hats and shoes. And I have started many conversations with people who say something about my hat or shoes. I've always loved shoes, but the hat thing grew organically. Like one day, my husband and I, we were at SF Pride, which is where we were living at the time. And we lost each other. And after a very aggravating afternoon, we found each other. And my husband said something like, you need to start wearing some loud hats so I could find your short little butt, like when we lose each other in huge crowded spaces like this. Because he's 6 feet tall, and I'm 5'5". I bought a hat, and I bought another hat, and I learned I really like myself in hats. My sister says I give good hat face. And so my hat collection has grown, and now I love wearing loud hats in public, and people approach. It's great. It's great. Find something that works for you. All right? Because I think in fashion, it's really important to have a look, okay? Pretty privilege is real, especially in fashion. We're literally working in an industry because we like looking and making pretty things. And so pretty privilege is absolutely real. My Patreon movie club group, we had a conversation about pretty privilege and how it affected like different perceptions of certain designers and stuff. And it's true. And if you think about so many of the heavy hitters, the most famous people who work in fashion, not just in design, they each have a signature look. It's like their personal brand. Look at Anna Wintour. Okay. You have an image that pops up in your mind immediately, right? The bob, the glasses, how she always shows up to the Met Gala in a long dress with a long coat. She loves a floral. She hates brown. Okay. Andre Leon Talley, the big capes, the Louis Vuitton luggage, okay? Karl Lagerfeld, the white hair, the glasses, the black and white, okay? Sonia Rykiel with the red triangle, okay? Anna Sui, long black hair, bangs, red lipstick, all black outfit. La Roche has a particular style. Alexa Chung was very famous for her style. Whether or not you're conventionally attractive, I think it's more important in fashion to have a look. And when you have a certain look, you attract your aesthetic kinfolk, okay? Which is literally kind of the basis of fashion historically. Like throughout all time, fashion is how we identified ourselves and we're able to identify who was friend or foe. It's very base, primal, the definition of fashion. But you could take it up a notch and make it something special. And it doesn't have to be particularly expensive. Only very few of my hats are particularly expensive. Another tip is to go with a friend, okay? And they don't even necessarily have to work in fashion. Go with a friend and be each other's professional wingmen for your various professional events, okay? My bestie works in the food industry, and I could talk about his food. Like I could do a whole video on his food for an hour, okay? Very early on in our friendship, he had me over for dinner and he made me these pork chops. And I was like, you need to sell these. I would have spent so much money on these pork chops. Are you kidding me right now? And I tell that story to people all the time. Like how much I crave his chicken wings and how all the time on his food truck, he would have these specialty items and then people would insist that they become permanent menu items because they love it so much and they were so sad and disappointed when they weren't on the truck the next time they saw him. Like I could really go on about him and enthusiastically because I genuinely love his food. So find a wingman, professional wingman, and go to events together because I could talk about Kenny all day long, but me? Who? Talk about who? I'm so good at being a wingman. A friend once called me wing commander. Okay? So go with a friend. And also, it's good so that you're not sitting in the corner by yourself, but, you look like you have a friend. And the two of you can grab a third person and be like, hi, you look so cool. Who are you? Come stand by us so we also look cool by association. Tell us about yourself, your outfit, whatever. Okay? Go make friends. And girls know that the best place to make friends is the bathroom. Okay? Bar bathroom, club bathroom, help each other zip up something, lend a tampon, fix their lipstick, take care of a girl crying over their shitty boyfriend, You need to also go to the right places. Okay? Designers, if you want to start your own business, yeah, you should absolutely make friends with other designers and pattern makers and tech designers. But if you want a business partner, you need to go to where the business people are in your city and not just fashion events. Okay. And if you want to, dress celebrities, whether as a stylist or as a designer, you need to go to events, take a model with you, dress them up head to toe in your gear, and go to fashion parties where a bunch of musicians are going to be, okay? Or whoever you want to dress. One time, years ago, I went to this fashion event. I took a model with me, and I dressed him in my clothes. And I also put a 3-inch leather collar with a chain leash on him. And yeah, I carried the chain leash all night. And we met Susie Menkes. And she asked me if she could hold my puppy's leash. Susie Menkes, what else do you know about BDSM culture? But Zoe, what if I live in the middle of nowhere? So let's talk about some online strategies. Get on LinkedIn. I keep hearing this a lot. I hear a lot of people talk about get on LinkedIn, connect with recruiters, connect with people from all sectors of the industry, not just design houses, but also follow design houses that could potentially be posting job listings. But, you never know when your next job tip is going to come from, because a lot of people, they'll post jobs that are happening at their companies, like, oh, my company's hiring X position, So make friends with tech designers, pattern makers, production managers, all across the industry, and cultivate relationships with them through their social media posts. A lot of people are like, LinkedIn is cringe. LinkedIn is so corporate. I don't know about LinkedIn being so corporate. I have connected with a ton of people at smaller companies, so I don't know about that so much. But if you think LinkedIn is cringe, get over yourself. Go find a job. In the description box of this video, I'm going to drop in a list of agencies that recruit for fashion and a few fashion job boards. I got this list from a girlfriend of mine who's worked in women's wear for 20 plus years. So go check that out. You want to get on socials like Instagram and Threads and follow fashion people you admire. Not just follow them, but actively comment on their posts. Leave thoughtful, kind, funny, helpful comments, or even a simple thank you, or I love this, or congratulations. I remember people who leave comments regularly way more than people who simply heart my posts regularly. I don't keep track of everyone who likes my posts, but I do, I'll see the same avatars, the same usernames over and over again when they leave comments. Networking is about the long game. Okay, movies have us really effed up about life timelines. Okay, it's really fed into that whole instant gratification culture, and we need to just pause and adjust our expectations. Okay, and am I saying this in light of the Devil Wears Prada sequel? Maybe I am. Okay, but you're not gonna go to a party, meet someone, get offered your dream job, and then bing, bing, boom. I mean, that might happen if you already are the creative director of a brand. And they're like, oh, I know that brand. I love that. Listen, can we poach you? It might happen if you've gotten to a certain point in your career, but especially if you're entry level and nobody's heard of you, that's just not going to happen. Here are 3 more likely scenarios. Okay. Number 1, you meet someone at a party. Okay. Later on, you follow up. Maybe at the party, you talked about your favorite local coffee shops to get work done. They're quiet. They don't mind if you bring your laptop. Okay. And so afterwards, you follow up with them. Following up is very important. You follow up with them and they're like, here's my list of my favorite coffee shops that you can work in. It was really great meeting you, et cetera, et cetera. Extend the conversation, get to know one another. And then eventually, when there's a job opportunity at their company, maybe they will email you and be like, hey, this has opened up. You should totally apply. Something a lot of companies do is, and this is not just fashion, but when they're hiring for a new position, a lot of the time, they'll try to see who's in their network before they post a public job listing. So maybe you'll get in on that network, okay? Possible scenario number 2, you meet someone at a party, you guys chit-chat, get to know one another, and they tell you about maybe an internship they heard about, and they're past the internship phase, so they pass it off to you. Maybe they hear about a volunteer opportunity where that would put you in front of other people in the industry. Okay, maybe they give you a cool job tip where, something that'll help you put your resume in front of actual human eyes and not just an AI scanner. Okay, and then you take those small little steps and you start snowballing all these little steps into bigger and bigger opportunities. Okay, scenario number 3. You meet someone at a party, fashion event, and they've already heard of you. They're already familiar with your work. They follow you on Instagram. And now that you've met and now that they've learned that you are not a terrible person, then they want to offer you an opportunity because they have already known about you from your internet presence. Okay, so those 3 are way more likely than a magical movie moment. Okay, please adjust your expectations. Networking is something you do in addition to working on your work. It doesn't replace your work, okay? Because it is going to be such a waste for everyone involved if you land the opportunity of a lifetime because of your great schmoozing skills, but you don't actually have the design skills to back it up, okay? And maybe you get a couple more opportunities before you poop out because you just didn't work on your design skills, but then people are just going to stop hiring you. Okay, those opportunities are going to dry up. So you got to grind at home while networking at fashion events, online, wherever. Okay, you still need to grind at home. You still need to be working on your skills. You need to make something. The internet giveth and the internet taketh away. And nobody knows that better than creators like myself. But the internet, you need to learn to use it because the internet can be an amazing tool, for networking, for sharing, for getting your name out there. It's like more of an equal opportunity sort of tool than pretty much anything we have currently, okay? But you might be thinking, oh, Zoe, I'm a creative, not a marketer. Womp womp, every brand has a marketing team, okay? There's no company within fashion or outside of fashion that can exist purely based on their product alone, okay? There's always a team. There are different marketing strategies, but there's always a team. And if you are the only person at your brand, you are also the marketing team. I have a colleague who often says this, that it's pure ego to expect to be found based purely on your work when you don't put in the work to be found. She says ego, I say delusion, but she is just in general a nicer person than I am. Another example is to share something, okay? So share your expertise, okay? I teach on the internet, but I also get opportunities beyond teaching because people see that I speak knowledgeably about my subject matter and they offer me different opportunities. And listen, if you are watching this the second week of July, I'm in Paris right now because I got afforded this opportunity through a friend I met via this channel. Like, she started watching my channel, thought I was the cat's pajamas or however that saying is. She came to one of my meetups. We became friends. We've kept in touch. Like, we've known each other for 8 years now, I adore her. You might be thinking, Zoe, I'm not an expert on anything, okay? Where does expertise come from? It comes from obsession, okay? Lean into your obsession, okay? Lean into your obsession, and as you research and you practice and you research some more and you read and you explore and you look things up, you're going to slowly become someone who knows more and maybe eventually become an expert. Okay. So even if you aren't an expert, you can also share your obsession. Okay. There are a lot of people who love watching people who are not experts, but just want to share their joy and their obsession. There's this one guy on the internet. All he posts are fashion archives. Okay. Givenchy, fall 2012. Editorial from Vogue Italia, March 99, stuff like that. And there are a lot of people who do this, but from what I've seen, he is one of the most prolific and the most consistent. So he started off posting all these because it's his obsession, just like these beautiful images from the runway, from magazines. And eventually he started posting about opportunities that came his way because he was putting his name out there, having all these archives and networking and all these things. He had amassed quite a following. I lost track of him because I quit Twitter, but yeah, he had a lot of followers at that point and he was trying to turn it into something. Now, remember, networking doesn't stop after you get a job, okay? Much like your portfolio must be kept updated, you need to keep networking, okay? You can stop networking when you retire. But until then, make good with your boss, make good with your boss's boss, make good with your peers, make good with your freelance clients. You never know when your next job tip is going to come. One last story for y'all. I was at a press conference. I was one of 8 designers showcasing. And after the official presentation, like we're all milling about and the journalists were approaching designers one by one to interview them for their publications. And we were doing this for a couple hours and I was exhausted. And my bestie was there to support me. And he comes up to me and he's like, girl. Except he said it kind of loud because he doesn't know how to be quiet. Immediately, this guy turns around. Real big guy, real huge camera on his shoulder, says CBS on it. And he says to us, listen, the industry standard is 2 blocks. You got to wait 2 blocks before you start talking shit. We all cracked up so hard. But you know what? We took his advice and we just zipped the lip and we just finished my interviews. And then when we were walking to the parking garage, we absolutely forgot whatever conversation we were going to have. And honestly, he only got that one word. You don't know if he was going to talk smack about somebody or if he was going to be like, oh my God, that dress was gorgeous. You did such a good job. Like, we don't know, but we don't even remember at this point. Okay. So what happens when you're old, right? And listen, I don't want to hear it, okay? Do not leave me a comment being like, oh, Zoe, I don't talk smack, so I don't have this problem. Listen, we all talk smack, okay? We're all human. We all talk smack. We've all had a crappy boss. We've all had a crappy day. We've all vented to, a friend about some situation that happened. We've all, vented to our partner about how you've seen this one collection, these 17 collections by people who were supposedly famous and so creative geniuses, and they're totally not. I could totally do a better. We've all had those moments, okay? Because we are human. What I'm saying is be discreet, okay? Keep your shit talking to a minimum. And if you must, I recommend talking smack to someone who doesn't work in fashion. My bestie works in food. My husband is a vault. He works in software. He's a vault, okay? He keeps so many secrets. He probably forgot most of them, but he is a vault. He doesn't say nothing about nothing, all right? So the industry is small. Sometimes it feels really vast and just so unnavigatable. And then at the wrong precise moment, you will learn that the industry is so small. Okay? So be discreet. That's it for today. Please give this video a thumbs up if you learned something new today. Drop your video requests below. Don't forget to get my books. What else is there? I don't know. Oh, yeah. Don't forget to check the video description box for that list of recruiting agencies and job boards. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.